If I had $10,000, if I had $10,000.
Oh, hey, how are you? Today I'll be making banana cake with banana sausage caramel sauce and a walnut brittle. The first thing that I always do is preheat the oven for the cake. To make the banana cake, I measured out all the ingredients. I have a bowl of sugar, and I have my shortening put in a measuring cup with plastic, so that way it's easy out. See, falls right out. Now you want to take your mixer, and you want to mix your sugar and your shortening together so it's nice and creamed. Alright, after it's nice and creamy and light, you want to add your eggs one at a time. It calls for 2 eggs. Mixed in, I'm going to add the second egg. After it's all mixed together, you want to add your mashed bananas. I just mashed it with a hand whisk. Add those in. And you want to add the vanilla. Now the recipe calls for a cup of buttermilk. Sugar grate. Alright, final step, which is also the first step, is sift out your flour. So you want to sift out all of your 2 cups of flour and add a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then you want to add it in a little at a time. I'm going to mix it by hand this time. And I'm just using all-purpose flour for this recipe. A little more. And the last amount. Alright, our batter is nice and thick and ready. Now, I greased my pan and then I floured it, and I learned something. Always put parchment in the pan. It helps the cake come out. Alright, so I put it all in the pan, and now it's going into the oven. About 35 minutes into a 350 cake is in the oven. We're going to want to do the next step, and that's to melt some butter in a small saucepan. And you want to add a cup of packed brown sugar and 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream. And you want to stir it until it's dissolved and heat it about 2 minutes. Fully dissolved, and you want to add your teaspoon of vanilla and give a good whisk. Next, you want to pour it into a large mixing bowl. To finish, you want to add about a pound. You want to slowly add a pound of confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar, and you want to slowly incorporate it with your whisk. Alright, I've added all my confectioner's sugar, and now it's nice and thick and frosting-like. Alright, to make the brittle, you want to start by putting your sheet pan with your nuts on it, but line it with parchment paper so that way it's easy to pull off and not a big sticky mess when you go to clean it up. So we're going to make some brittle with sugar, and I put a cup of sugar in my pot along with half a cup of water so that way it's kind of just moisten the sugar, and you can whisk it all together right now, but make sure that when it comes to a boil, don't mix anymore. Alright, so you can see that the caramel is turning amber colored, so you want to watch it now very closely or it'll burn. And pull it off when it's nice and caramel colored. And pour it over your nuts, your walnuts. And there's your walnut garnish. You just have to let it cool. With this, you also want to make sure you have all your ingredients out. And I have my butter, my heavy cream, and then the dark rum all ready to go. So now you want to add your butter. Be very careful because slowly add your cream. Alright, now we can add our final ingredient, the rum. Now we have a caramel sauce. And over here I have a mason jar that we had spaghetti sauce in, and now I'm going to use it to hold my caramel. And there is our caramel. Alright, so here's the finished cake. Now we're going to let it set up, and then we'll be ready for plating. Okay, so I'm going to decorate a plate and finish my plate presentation. First I'm going to start with the caramel. And then I'm going to pull up my cake that I sliced, so that way it'll be easier. And then as garnish, we're going to put the walnut brittle. And I hope you all enjoy. So we're going to finish our extra presentation and make bananas faster. So I have butter melting in the pan, it's nice and hot, and I'm going to add brown sugar to make a nice caramel sauce. Once your butter and sugar is all ready, you want to add your banana in. Now we turn off the heat so it'll be safe a little bit. You want to pour in your rum. Careful little splatter, and then light it on fire. That's good. So that's flambeing all the alcohol out. And when it's finished, grab a spoon, take some of your bananas and your sauce, pour it right over your cake. And voila. Final banana Foster's presentation.